Hi everyone, today we'll be talking about DMC Devil May Cry, which is Capcom's 2013 reboot of the enormously popular Devil May Cry series. This installment serves as the origin story for Dante, our anti-hero protagonist who, despite all appearances, is not human but Nephilim. For the purposes of this game, a Nephilim is the offspring of angel and demon, and the game's main antagonist is Mundus, the king of the demons. Mundus has enslaved humanity, unbeknownst to the humans themselves, and Dante, along with his brother Virgil and a human medium, Cat, must take down Mundus and free the clueless humans. Now that we've established a basic understanding of the game's plot, we'll start out by discussing the ways in which the game itself critiques society, and then move on to the latent themes present in the story and characterization. Devil May Cry does attempt to function as social commentary within the context of its own story in several ways, and the first important thing to note is the game's setting. Dante is continuously pulled back and forth between Limbo City, the fictional yet realistic and modern human world, and Limbo, a parallel demon plane. While the idea of a demonic parallel plane is obviously a fantasy element, Limbo City has a much more definite, realistic time and place than past Devil May Cry settings. There have always been recognizable elements in Devil May Cry games, but where before a player might encounter a gothic castle and a jungle in the same game, this game remains much more consistent in its portrayal of life as we know it. People drive normal cars on paved roads, they stop at traffic lights, they work in skyscrapers. The style of dress is also much more familiar. Dante has traded in his white hair, leather chaps, and bright red trench coat for short, dark hair, jeans, and a grungy tank top. This familiarity reinforces the notion that any conflicts within the game are meant to be our conflicts, revealing the game maker's lack of confidence in their audience's ability to extrapolate. Just in case players miss the significance of the game's setting, the game makers ripped their two main subjects of critique straight out of social media. In the game, the two main ways demons control humans is through an energy drink called Virility and a news corporation called the Raptor News Network. The Virility advertising is all very typical of advertising we see in real life. Handsome, fit models alongside the tagline, "Drink Virility, fitter, smarter, sexier." However, when Dante is in limbo, he discovers the truth about the drink. The same fit models become obese and the tagline becomes obesity, stupidity, drink virility, alluding to the fact that the demons have spiked virility with a psychotropic agent to keep the humans addicted and passive. In regards to the media, the Raptor News Network spins, twists, and filters information in order to keep the truth hidden, and the network's sole host is a demon with a point of view Dante describes as backwards, and the catchphrase, "just doing God's work." These parodies of real-life products and corporations are kind of funny, but it all seems like the writers got so carried away poking fun that they forgot to have a cohesive message. What should we take away from these parodies? Someone's out to get us. But is it the government? Is it big business? Is it religion? Or are we supposed to believe that all of these organizations are working in concert to keep us addicted and uninformed? The game's message becomes clearer when we look at how morality is portrayed. Dante is not a moral person according to the traditional definition. He's immature, selfish, crude, lewd, and promiscuous, but he's our hero because he can see the world for what it is. Counter to our expectations for not only our hero, but demonic forces, the demons criticize Dante for his lack of morality, particularly his sexual activity. This is by far the most complex and interesting theme in the game. Morality is presented as the antithesis of awareness and a critical outlook. Compliance with socially constructed values is seen as another form of slavery. In light of this, the game's haphazard criticism of societal structures makes more sense. It doesn't matter whether government, big business, or religion is to blame, because people should be critical, if not downright suspicious, of all of these organizations. Where this game is most problematic, but also where it shows improvement from past Devil May Cry titles, is in its portrayal of women. There's more than one woman in this game, but for the sake of time, we'll focus on the one with the most substantial role, Cat. Cat fits so well into the mold of damsel in distress that it's obvious the game's defiance of social norms doesn't extend as far as its characters. She's the only main character who's human, and her entire purpose is to give Dante the chance to prove he's really a nice guy under that foul-mouthed, binge-drinking exterior. Her role as a guide is a thin veil for her professional helplessness. Dante protects her physically and speaks up on her behalf, while she paints occult symbols on walls and makes cryptic comments about having nightmares. When she finally opens up to Dante and reveals the nightmares are due to the childhood abuse she suffered at the hands of her demonic foster father, it's done for the purpose of eliciting a reaction from him rather than providing depth or growth for her. As a child, Dante witnessed his mother's violent death at the hands of Mundus, and Kat's trauma echoes that violence. This increases Dante's motivation to defeat Mundus and free humanity, and Kat is merely the vehicle of that motivation. That being said, Kat is not overtly sexualized, at least not in comparison to characters like Gloria from Devil May Cry 4. However, just because her objectification isn't so hyperbolic that it borders on comical doesn't mean it isn't happening. Her body is presented in a voyeuristic fashion, so rather than having any sexual agency, she's just a low-cut top and a pair of tiny shorts for us to look at. In some ways, she's the traditional feminine ideal. Sexy, but completely unaware of her own sex appeal. Dante, on the other hand, is very aware of his sex appeal, and makes sure everyone else is aware of it too. The entire opening sequence of the game is of him picking up 2 dancers from a club, and we're given evidence of not just his sexual agency, but sexual prowess in the form of scratches on his back and a flattering note left in lipstick the next morning. When Kat knocks on his door shortly afterward, he answers it completely and unabashedly naked. Until he finds out about Kat's past, he continually makes sexual jokes in front of or to her, which are always met with downcast eyes and embarrassed silence. So we can see that neither Dante nor Kat departs from a standard gender role or challenges the boundaries of their respective character tropes. To conclude, I should say that none of this critique should be interpreted as dislike of the game. DMC Devil May Cry is a fun hack and slash with beautiful art and fantastic action. However, as a game that bombards its audience with the notion of disregarding societal boundaries, it doesn't manage to practice what it preaches. It fails to deviate from a typical trajectory and falls short of challenging the society it's intending to critique.